Gentlemen, life doesn't fall apart all at once. It slowly unravels decision by decision. One compromise here, one bad choice there, and then suddenly you're stuck. Bitter, broke, divorced, overweight, addicted, and wondering, what the hell happened? Today, I'm going over 10 choices that destroy men's lives. These things aren't theories, they're not hypotheticals. They are real choices that you make that will literally ruin your life. Number one is marrying the wrong person. All right, this one is a big one because if you marry or choose to marry somebody that is not right for you, you're setting yourself up for a life of destruction, financial ruin, emotional abuse, and not being happy. You know, when I think back to the women that I dated before I met my wife, if I would have married any one of them, I would be divorced like literally 17 times because they just weren't right for me. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people fall into the trap of just moving forward, even though they know in their head they're not right. Whether or not it's because they're hot, because their mom or dad wants them to, because she is pressuring you, because your friends are getting married. Gentlemen, this is your life. You got one shot at it. And if you choose incorrectly, you lose. Number two is abusing drugs and alcohol. Here's unfortunately what happens. A lot of times you start drinking with friends, you know, the occasional joint, whatever it is, right? But then it just keeps going. And if you never get it under control, it can perpetuate into an addiction or a bigger problem. And what I've learned for myself is that when I actually stopped drinking, it was amazing what happened. Everything in my life started to get better. I was somebody who abused alcohol. I would get blackout drunk more than like 3 times a week. And I thought, oh, I'm not as bad as my buddy who's doing it 4 times a week or 5 times a week. It's too much. It was too much for me. And when I cut it out, when I stopped, everything in my life got better. I thought more clearly, I thought more rationally, I didn't make the bad decisions, I felt better, I looked better, everything got better. Which brings me to number 3, and that is not treating your body and your health like it is the number one most important and valuable asset that you have, because it is. If you think for a second that the damage you do earlier on in life is not going to catch up with you, it will. You need to exercise, I think, every single day. You need to eat right. You need to drink 120 ounces of water a day. You need to take your vitamins. You need to do and live as healthy and as clean a life as possible. You've got to go for checkups. You got to go to the dentist. You got to go get blood work done. Health is the one thing that money can't buy more of. And you've got to understand that. And I know that when you're young, you don't think about it. You don't think about things like that because you don't have to worry about it. You're young, right? And you haven't seen health issues. You haven't had them. You haven't seen people around you pass away yet. But as you age, as you get older, as you start going to the doctor and getting checkups, it's like, oh shit, I wish I would have taken better care of myself when I was younger. Gentlemen, start today. Do not wait, because your health, your body is your number one most valuable asset. The fourth way to ruin your life, I'm talking like that, is live somebody else's dream. Whether or not it's your parents, your grandparents, your sister, your weird Uncle Barry, anybody else's dream for your life other than yours. One of the reasons I feel that so many men have midlife crisis is because they finally wake up and they realize, I'm going to live for me and I'm going to do what I want. And so what happens? Of course, you've heard the story 1,000 times. They sleep with their secretary, Brenda. They buy a sports car. They leave their wife and 2 kids, and they're like, yo, deuces, I'm out. And everybody's like, oh my God, I never saw it coming, right? I did, because they weren't true to who they were from the start. Gentlemen, don't worry about what anybody else wants for your life. It's your life. Live it. Number 5 is not learning about money. Gentlemen, money, it's a language that you need to learn to speak. If not, you're going to make bad buying decisions. You're going to live above your means. You're going to have a high interest credit card debt, and it is going to rob your life of joy. You need to be financially literate. You also need to be financially responsible. It doesn't mean you need millions of dollars in the bank, but you need to not squander the money you have. Number 6 is avoiding responsibility and blaming other people for why you're not happy. Gentlemen, you got to understand, you are not a victim. And if you want to live your best life, you got to take control, you got to take ownership. It's nobody else's responsibility other than yours for where you are in life. It's not your boss's fault you're not happy with your job and making more money. It's yours. It's not your ex-girlfriend's fault that you're not in a healthy relationship now. It's yours. It's not your parents' fault for you not being a happy person. It's not their fault. It's none of their fault. It's you. You've got to make the decision. You've got to make the choice, and you've got to choose to do the best job you can and own your life. Which brings me to number 7. You're choosing to stay in a job that you hate. Guys, here's the truth. Life is too short to hate what you do 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. If you are not enjoying what you do every single day and you live for the weekends, this is a sign something's wrong. Figure it out. Fix it. All right, unfortunately, so many of us stay stuck because you're uncomfortable. Oh man, I don't want to update my resume. I'm not sure what I want to do. Gentlemen, if you hate what you do, fix it. If you don't like the people you do it with, fix it. If you don't like the fact that you're sitting in a car commuting for an hour or two a day and wasting your life, fix it. Number 8 is letting dopamine ruin and run your life. I'm talking about porn, TikTok, social media in general. Anything that gives you that little quick hit of dopamine every time you scroll, every time you look, every time you spank your monkey. You got to understand that dopamine is one of those things that we are lacking these days because we get it synthetically. Not the good old-fashioned way, all right? It's the motivational hormone. We used to, when we were spicy alpha cave creatures, right? We need to go out and do something hard, like go get a gazelle, drag it back to our spicy cave senorita, be like, yo mama, check it out, right? That doing hard shit gave us that little hit of dopamine. Now we get it by looking at our phone. Gentlemen, you're losing your edge. Give it up. Discipline is sexy. Number 9 is cutting yourself off from your brotherhood. All right? Now this one, I want you to think about for a second. Do you surround yourself with men that are uplifting, that are pushing you to go further and faster and higher? Or are you surrounding yourself with losers? All right, I don't want you settling for people that are average. I want you to join a community, find your tribe, get engaged with people that have your best interest in mind. We were not supposed to be isolated, right? I think we all learned that when the pandemic hit. We were not supposed to be isolated as creatures and as men. We need a brotherhood. It's not good enough just to have a girlfriend. You need men in your life that you can look to for inspiration, for motivation, but also support and just camaraderie. One of the things that I really found out during the pandemic is that I needed to be around amazing men. My friends, that's what I missed the most. It allows you to grow. It allows you to engage. It allows you to be inspired and flourish. But if you're isolated, if you're thinking that engagement is strictly online, unfortunately, you are not going to be where you need to be. Gentlemen, choose better friends. And last but certainly not least, number 10, you're settling for a life that you didn't choose and you don't want. A lot of you are going through life just kind of coasting. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. When you finally wake up, pick yourself up, and decide to live the life that you want, that you choose, that you are destined to succeed at, that's when everything in your life will get better. But I don't want you looking back at your life 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and thinking, oh man, I wish I would have done. Or man, if I only had tried. No, now is the time. Fuck it. Seriously, fuck it. You've only got one shot at this life. I don't want you to regret anything. Failure is part of the process. I know that some of you might be scared. You might not want to try because what if you get rejected? What if you don't succeed? What if you fail? That's part of it. You're gonna fail. You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna get rejected. And that's the beautiful thing. It's about picking yourself up, challenging yourself, dusting yourself off, and moving forward. Eventually, you will figure it out. Gentlemen, I think you're absolutely amazing. Don't forget it.